What if silence itself was not emptiness, but a living presence, an ancient voice threaded through the cosmic dark? Imagine the void as less a barren nothingness, and more a vast breathing entity, its quietude humming softly beneath the starlight. Tonight, as we step beyond familiar atmospheres, we find ourselves threading curiosity through the infinite dark, following strands of light, shadow, and particle that weave a tapestry older than time itself. We do not begin with answers, but with a deep ache for the unknown, a gentle urging to listen closer to the hushed secrets the universe has long tucked away. Look closely at the space between stars, at the dark folds where light itself seems to thin and vanish. What if these shadows are not empty? What if they carry hidden presences, ghosts of creation, rocking gently in cosmic lullabies older than memory? Every silent corner might be humming its own story, singing of the dance of dust and energy, of stars born and stars passed away, all kept alive in the resonance of silence. The vastness is a canvas of impossibility made real, where atoms drift not in solitude, but in orchestras shaped by gravity's soft hands, swirling across aeons in patterns too delicate for the eye alone. What if this quivering stillness is time breathing softly, a slow heartbeat pulsing through the cold? We think of time as linear, relentless, but in the void it moves differently, folded and layered, often erased and rewritten, like echoes fading in an endless cavern. Not because darkness is hollowness, but because it is possibility. Not because silence is emptiness, but because it is memory. Not because the void is absence, but because it is presence, fluid and patient as the sea. And as you let your breath slow, your heartbeat soften, imagine that we are all woven into this cosmic whisper, each of us a flicker in the dark, a note in the universe's song, a question hanging forever in the spaces between stars. What if our very longing to understand is the thread that connects us to this silence? Could it be that the void doesn't only contain the past, but cradles the future too, waiting for us to find the way back to its embrace? This silent song is old beyond imagining, older than light, older than matter, older than the first spark of life on a lonely world. It is the sigh of creation itself, the quiet pulse beneath the clamour of existence. And as we listen, breathing softly, we become part of the story, part of the slow unfolding mystery that is the universe's eternal hymn. And yet, if silence can sing, if absence can hold memory, what other truths might the void be guarding, waiting for us to discover in its endless night? Imagine now the stars not as lonely points of light, but as voices in a great cosmic choir, each ringing with its own timbre and history. Their songs overlap, harmonize, and sometimes fall silent, leaving spaces where only the soft hum of the void can be heard. Each galaxy spins like a vast symphony, its spiraling arms casting melodies through space and time, the echoes bouncing off invisible walls of dark matter, shaping the rhythm of the cosmos. Could the emptiness be music in disguise, a melody that exists not in sound but in the dance of particles and energy? The ages stretch out before us like a vast ocean, and in that ocean, the waves of time both carry and erase memories. Deep within planetary crusts, beneath layers of stone and fossil, there are isotopes, tiny atomic clocks counting down epochs long after the organisms who once inhabited these worlds have become dust. These isotopes are the universe's quiet archivists, its invisible librarians cataloguing every change, every shift in climate and atmosphere that marks the passage of eons. Is it possible that time itself is layered like a sedimentary rock, each layer telling a story not just of what was but of what was lost, and what of the deep earth, where the ocean floor is subducted beneath the continents and swallowed beneath molten rock? Here the planet erases its surface history, turning old crust to molten memory, recycling the past into the fiery core. Could this process be planetary forgetting, a self-erasure written in pressure and heat, where even the hardest stones submit to entropy's slow insistence? If the Earth itself can choose what to remember, what to bury, how do we understand our own place in that vast ledger? Maybe the void is not only about what is missing, but about the spaces where memory dissolves, folds and shifts, a shifting mosaic where identity is not fixed but fluid, where we exist not as endpoints but as moments in an ever-unfolding story. Could it be that each of us carries within us traces of this cosmic forgetting, that our own histories are echoes of a larger silence reaching out across the stars, urging us to listen, to remember? Not because the void is empty, but because it is full, overflowing with questions whispered like secrets among. The silence between stars holds whispers, not the emptiness we imagine, but something deeper, more patient, a darkness threaded with ancient travellers that have been drifting longer than worlds have existed. Tonight, we find ourselves floating alongside them, these impossibly old fragments, these cosmic pebbles that carry within their mineral hearts a story that predates the very formation of our Earth. What if the void itself was not absence, but an archive, and every grain of cosmic dust a page we have yet to learn to read? Somewhere in the asteroid belt, tumbling through the weightless cathedral of space, rocks older than our planet continue their eternal waltz. They are not large, these wanderers, some no bigger than your closed fist, others the size of buildings, but their age defies comprehension. While our Earth was still a dream of gravity and heat, while the solar system itself was nothing more than a collapsing cloud of gas and possibility, these fragments were already ancient, already carrying the isotopic signatures of stars that died before our sun was born. Could it be that we are surrounded not by debris but by elders? The science whispers its secrets through spectrometers and mass analyzers, instruments that can taste the atomic breath of these cosmic witnesses. Within their crystalline structures, we find ratios of elements that tell impossible tales, isotopes of oxygen and magnesium, that could only have formed in the nuclear furnaces of stars that exploded billions of years before our solar system began to coalesce. These are not children of our cosmic neighborhood, but immigrants from deeper space, refugees from stellar catastrophes so ancient that their parent stars have been forgotten by the universe itself. What memories might be locked in their mineral lattices? What stories of cosmic violence and creation? We drift closer to these silent storytellers, and in our imagination, we can almost hear their whispered histories. Perhaps one fragment remembers the moment its parent star began to swell and redden, casting off its outer layers in the final act of stellar death. Another might carry within its crystal structure the memory of a supernova's flash, that brief, brilliant instant when a massive star collapsed and then exploded with the force of a billion suns, seeding space with the heavy elements that would someday become planets, become oceans, become us. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, might these too be ancient immigrants, recycled stardust that has journeyed across eons to find temporary home in our living bodies? But these cosmic pebbles guard their secrets jealously. They tumble through the dark, their surfaces worn smooth by billions of years of micrometeorite impacts, their original shapes softened by entropy's patient hand. Time has been both destroyer and preserver here, erasing surface details while locking deeper truths in atomic vaults. What if time itself leaves fingerprints? What if duration, like pressure and heat, could transform matter in ways we are only beginning to understand? The isotope trails they carry are like breadcrumbs scattered across the cosmos, leading us back through time to stellar nurseries that no longer exist, to cosmic events that shaped the very elements from which we are made. When we study these ancient fragments, we are not merely looking at rocks, we are reading the autobiography of matter itself, the slow story of how simple hydrogen and helium, forged in the first moments after the Big Bang, became complex enough to dream, to wonder, to reach out and touch the stars from which it came. And yet, if these fragments can survive such vast spans of time, carrying their impossible memories across the void, what else might be drifting in the darkness, unnoticed and unrecognized? What other witnesses to cosmic history might be passing through our solar system at this very moment, their stories written in languages we have not yet learned to speak? What other witnesses to cosmic history might be passing through our solar system at this very moment, their stories written in languages we have not yet learned to speak? The answer drifts all around us. invisible and infinite, streams of dust so fine they seem more like memory than matter, carried on currents that flow not through water or air, but through the emptiness itself. The solar wind, that endless breath of our star, shepherds these microscopic wanderers across distances that dwarf imagination, and we find ourselves not observers but participants, unknowing passengers in a migration that began before the first stone cooled on any world. Close your eyes and imagine the solar system not as a collection of planets orbiting in void, but as an ocean filled with invisible currents. These are not the gentle breezes of Earth, but rivers of charged particles streaming outward from the sun at speeds that would make light seem leisurely, millions of miles per hour, carrying with them the smallest fragments of worlds that once were. Every grain of cosmic dust tells a story of collision, of asteroid meeting asteroid in the slow-motion ballet of deep space, each impact sending clouds of debris spinning into the solar wind's embrace. What if we could follow just one of these motes backward through time, tracing its journey from the moment it was born in violence to its current drift through the dark? The dust remembers everything, not in the way we remember, with neurons and electrical impulses, but in the patient language of atomic structure, of crystal lattices, that preserve the conditions of their formation like fossils preserved in stone. Some grains carry the isotopic signatures of the early solar system, when planets were still forming and the space between worlds was thick with the debris of creation. Others bear the chemical fingerprints of comets that fell sunward from the outer darkness, their ancient ices sublimating in the growing warmth, leaving behind the rocky cores that had slept unchanged since the system's birth. Could it be that every breath we take contains atoms that once danced in the tail of a comet or crystallized in the heart of an asteroid that no longer exists? But the dust does more than remember. It moves, it flows, it responds to forces we can barely detect. The solar wind shapes these streams like an invisible hand shaping clay, pushing the smaller particles outward while gravity pulls the larger ones into slowly decaying orbits. The result is a complex dance of matter and energy, currents within currents, eddies and flows that change with the solar cycle, with the seasons of our star's magnetic field. What we see as empty space is actually a living system, a vast circulatory network that connects every world to every other world, carrying the dust of Mars to Jupiter, the fragments of ancient Earth to the edge of interstellar space. Sometimes, when conditions align just so, we can see these invisible rivers made manifest. The zodiacal light, that faint pyramid of radiance that rises from the horizon before dawn or after sunset, is sunlight scattered by countless dust grains suspended in the plane of the solar system. For a few precious moments the cosmic ocean reveals itself, and we can see the streams and currents that surround us always but usually remain hidden. Is it possible that this light carries within it the echoes of every world that ever was, every collision that ever scattered matter into the waiting arms of the solar wind? The implications stretch beyond poetry into something deeper, more unsettling. If dust can travel so freely between worlds, if the solar wind can carry fragments from one planet to another, then perhaps the boundaries we imagine between Earth and space are more porous than we thought. Perhaps life itself has been a wanderer, riding these invisible currents from world to world, seeding possibility wherever conditions allow. The meteorites that fall to Earth carry within them organic compounds, amino acids, the chemical building blocks of life. Are these just random debris, or might they be letters in a message we are only beginning to learn to read? And if we ourselves are made of stardust, if the calcium in our bones and the iron in our blood were forged in stellar furnaces and scattered by ancient supernovae, then are we not also part of these cosmic currents, these rivers of dust and time? When we die, when our bodies return to the elements from which they came, will our atoms join this eternal migration, drifting outward on the solar wind to seed new worlds, new possibilities? What stories might our own dust tell when it finally reaches the stars from which it came? But even as we drift in contemplation of these vast migrations, we begin to wonder about the passengers that might have completed their journeys already, about the remnants of other worlds that might have found their way to ours. carrying with them the fossilized whispers of ancient life. But even as we drift in contemplation of these vast migrations, we begin to wonder about the passengers that might have completed their journeys already, about the remnants of other worlds that might have found their way to ours, carrying with them the fossilized whispers of ancient life. Out in the asteroidal calm, beyond the reach of planetary atmospheres and the weathering hand of time, something extraordinary waits in the cold silence. Not the familiar fossils of Earth's history, pressed between layers of sedimentary rock, but something far stranger, far older. These are fossils of possibility itself, crescendos of lost worlds frozen mid-dream in the crystalline hearts of wandering stones. Consider for a moment the asteroid belt, that ring of debris between Mars and Jupiter, where the gravitational dance of planets prevented a world from ever forming. What we see as cosmic rubble might be something else entirely, a museum of moments, a library of lives that never quite learned to breathe. Within these tumbling fragments, complex organic molecules drift in suspension, amino acids and nucleotide bases that formed in the primordial clouds before our solar system was born. They are not quite life, not yet death, but something in between, something that waits in the dark with infinite patience for conditions that may never come again. The science speaks in whispers here, in the language of mass spectrometry and infrared spectroscopy, instruments that can taste the molecular breath of these ancient wanderers. We find within them not just the simple building blocks of life, but complex polymers, chain molecules that seem to reach toward organization, toward the kind of intricate dance that separates the living from the merely chemical. Could it be that these asteroids are not graveyards but nurseries, not the remains of failed worlds but the seeds of worlds yet to be? What if the line between living and non-living is not as sharp as we imagine, but rather a spectrum that stretches across deep time, across the cold spaces between stars? Some of these cosmic fossils tell stories that challenge everything we thought we knew about life's fragility. In the heart of certain meteorites, scientists have discovered structures that defy easy explanation, microscopic forms that look almost biological, patterns that suggest not randomness but intention, organization, purpose. They are too small to be cells as we know them, too complex to be mere chemistry, too organized to be accident. Perhaps they are echoes of life that evolved in environments we cannot imagine, in the warm hearts of asteroids when the solar system was young and chaotic, when impacts generated enough heat to melt ice and create temporary oceans in the most unlikely places. What haunts us most about these dark fossils is their silence. Unlike the fossils of Earth, which are embedded in stories we can read, geological layers that speak of ancient seas and changing climates, of mass extinctions and evolutionary radiations, these cosmic specimens float free of context, orphaned from the worlds that created them. They are fragments of narratives we may never fully understand, chapters torn from books written in languages that died with their worlds, yet in their very silence they whisper of possibilities that stretch beyond our earth-bound imagination. The deeper we look into these asteroidal archives, the more we realize that fossilization itself might be a more universal process than we ever dreamed. Not just the preservation of bones and shells in Earth's sediments, but the preservation of molecular possibility in the vacuum of space, the slow crystallization of complexity in environments where time moves differently, where entropy itself might be a kind of artist, shaping order from chaos across scales of time that dwarf our understanding. What if every grain of cosmic dust is a fossil of sorts, a preserved moment from the universe's long experiment with complexity and consciousness? And if these dark fossils can preserve the echoes of ancient possibility for billions of years, drifting silent and patient through the void, what else might be waiting out there in the spaces between worlds, in the quiet corners of our cosmic neighborhood? What other forms of memory might the universe have found? What other ways of keeping secrets in the endless dark? Perhaps the silence itself is not empty but full, not absence but presence, waiting for the right moment, the right listener to finally break its ancient quiet and speak. Perhaps the silence itself is not empty but full, not absence but presence, waiting for the right moment, the right listener to finally break its ancient quiet and speak. And yet, as we float here in the cosmic dark, we begin to understand that silence was never truly silent at all. Space hums with frequencies we cannot hear, vibrates with energies that bypass our ears entirely, resonates with the deep music of gravity and time itself. What we call the vacuum is actually alive with whispers, gravitational waves rippling outward from cosmic collisions that happened millions of years ago, electromagnetic pulses crackling between planets, the faint chorus of hydrogen atoms as they flip their electron spins in the darkness between stars. Listen carefully, and you might hear what astronomers have been detecting for decades: the sound of black holes colliding a billion light-years away, their gravitational waves finally reaching us like echoes from the universe's most violent dreams. These are not sounds as we know them, not vibrations traveling through air, but ripples in the fabric of space-time itself, stretching and compressing the very geometry of existence as they pass. When these waves wash over Earth, they squeeze and stretch our planet by distances smaller than the width of a proton, a cosmic whisper so faint it took us a century to learn how to listen. Could it be that the universe has been singing to us all along, and we are only now developing the ears to hear? But there are deeper silences, stranger absences that speak more loudly than any sound. In the radio spectrum between the frequencies where hydrogen and hydroxyl molecules broadcast their presence, there lies a region that astronomers call the water hole, a quiet band where the cosmic background noise fades to almost nothing. Here, if anywhere, alien civilizations might choose to broadcast their existence, knowing that any species sophisticated enough to understand chemistry would naturally look for signals in this frequency range. We have been listening to this cosmic quiet for decades now, and its emptiness has become its own kind of message. What does it mean that the water hole remains dry? Are we truly alone, or are we simply not yet ready to hear what is being said? The absence extends beyond mere electromagnetic silence into something deeper, more fundamental. Dark matter, that invisible scaffold on which all visible matter hangs, makes up 85% of the universe's mass, yet it interacts with light and ordinary matter so weakly that it might as well be a ghost. We know it exists only by its gravitational influence, the way it bends starlight and shapes the rotation of galaxies, but it remains stubbornly, mysteriously silent. What if this cosmic dark matter is not just absent but actively erasing itself from our perception, existing in a parallel reality that touches ours only through gravity's gentle hand? Sometimes the most profound sounds are the ones that should be there but are not. The cosmic microwave background radiation that fills all of space carries within it the echo of the Big Bang itself, the fading afterglow of creation stretched thin by billions of years of expansion. But even this ancient light has its silences, cold spots and anomalies that suggest structures and events we cannot yet explain. Are these gaps in the cosmic symphony evidence of something lost, something erased from the universe's memory, or do they point toward possibilities that exist beyond our current understanding of what sound and silence even mean? The space between atoms hums with virtual particles that flash into existence and disappear before they can be measured. Quantum fluctuations that suggest reality itself might be more like music than mathematics, not solid and permanent, but flowing, improvised, constantly creating itself from moment to moment. What if consciousness itself is just another kind of silence, learning to listen to itself, another way the universe has found to hear its own cosmic song? And if space is full of sounds we cannot yet hear, full of silences that speak in frequencies beyond our perception, what other forms of communication might be flowing around us constantly, waiting for us to develop the right kind of ears, the right kind of silence within ourselves? And if space is full of sounds we cannot yet hear, full of silences that speak in frequencies beyond our perception, what other forms of communication might be flowing around us constantly, waiting for us to develop the right kind of ears, the right kind of silence within ourselves? Perhaps the answer lies not in what we can hear, but in what we can see taking shape in the spaces between order and chaos, where entropy, that universal principle of decay and dissolution, has been secretly tending a garden of impossible things. Here, in the cosmic borderlands between structure and randomness, something unexpected blooms, patterns that should not exist, symmetries that defy the natural tendency toward disorder, ruins that somehow thrive exactly where everything else fades away. We have been taught to think of entropy as pure destruction, the inevitable slide from complexity toward simplicity, from hot toward cold, from organized toward scattered. But look more closely at the universe's slow dance with disorder, and you begin to see something stranger, more beautiful than simple decay. Between the rigid order of crystals and the perfect randomness of gas clouds, entropy creates its own hidden structures, whirlpools in stellar winds, spiral arms in galaxies, the delicate lacework of dark matter, filaments that connect distant clusters of stars. What if entropy is not just an eraser, but also an artist, not just tearing down but building up, creating new forms of beauty from the ruins of the old? Consider the great red spot of Jupiter, that enormous storm that has been raging for centuries, possibly longer than human civilization has existed. By all rights, it should have dissipated long ago, its energy scattered into the chaos of the planet's atmosphere. Instead, it persists, feeds on the very turbulence that should destroy it, grows stronger through the very processes that should tear it apart. This is entropy's secret paradox. Sometimes disorder creates its own order. Sometimes chaos finds a way to sustain itself, to become a pattern that exists precisely because it should not exist. Could it be that survival itself is a form of rebellion against the universe's tendency toward dissolution? The same principle operates on scales both smaller and larger. In the quantum realm, virtual particles flash into existence from nothing, borrowing energy from the vacuum itself before disappearing again into the void. These ghostly fluctuations should cancel each other out, should sum to perfect emptiness, but instead they create the Casimir effect, a subtle force that can push objects apart or pull them together, depending on their geometry. Even nothingness, it seems, has structure. Even emptiness can exert pressure. What does it mean that the vacuum itself is alive with possibility, that even the absence of matter can become a presence? On cosmic scales, we see the same pattern repeated in dark energy, that mysterious force that drives the accelerating expansion of the universe. By all logic, gravity should be slowing the expansion, pulling galaxies back together, causing the universe to collapse in on itself. Instead, space itself seems to be growing, creating more emptiness between the islands of matter, pushing the cosmic archipelago of galaxies farther and farther apart. Is this entropy's ultimate victory? Or is it something else entirely, a kind of cosmic growth, a universe learning to create more room for possibility, more space for new forms of complexity to emerge? Perhaps every ruin in the cosmos tells the same story, not of simple ending, but of transformation, of old patterns dissolving to make room for new ones. The stellar nurseries where new stars are born from the debris of old ones, the planetary nebulae, where dying stars shed their outer layers in shells of glowing gas, the galactic collisions that destroy old structures while creating new ones. All of these could be seen as entropy's secret garden, places where dissolution and creation dance together in patterns too complex for our current understanding. And if entropy can create its own hidden order, its own secret gardens of impossible persistence, what else might be thriving in the spaces where we expect only decay? What other forms of structure might exist in the borderlands between matter and void, between pattern and chaos, between the known and the unknowable? Perhaps the universe is not slowly dying, but slowly learning, not running down but winding up in ways we cannot yet perceive, growing more complex rather than less, finding new ways to surprise itself with the possibilities hidden in every moment of apparent ending. As overflowing with questions whispered like secrets among the stars, we turn now to worlds that seem to defy their own stories, planets whose very atmospheres carry echoes of impossible pasts. Imagine a planet where methane rises stubbornly into skies that should be ablaze with fire, where frozen caps of ice refuse to yield to the warmth of their sun, defying laws that we consider absolute. What stories are buried in these anachronistic airs, these strange landscapes that refuse to fit our neat categories? How did these misfits persist, holding on to their identity despite the universe's relentless tides? These planets are ahistoric, not because they lack history, but because their histories twist into shapes we have not yet learned to read. Their atmospheres are a palimpsest, layered with gases that tell tales of long-lost climates, forgotten epochs when conditions were wildly different from today. Methane, a molecule both fragile and stubborn, lingers where fire should reign, a whisper of organic processes or deep geological secrets trapped beneath frozen surfaces. Could these atmospheric relics be remnants of worlds that once breathed differently, that once harbored chemistry waiting to bloom? We visit the ice-capped deserts where heat relentlessly tries and fails to rewrite the landscape. There is a resilience here, a quiet revolt against entropy and decay. These frozen expanses are not just cold, but repositories of vanished worlds, time capsules that preserve earlier climates and ancient atmospheres beneath layers of frost and dust. Within these glaciers lie isotopic clues, subtle shifts in oxygen and hydrogen that point to epochs when warmth and water conquered what now seems eternal cold. How do these frozen memories survive the erosion of time and radiation? What stories have they not yet shared with any listener? To understand these worlds, we must think beyond the cycles we know, beyond Earth's rhythms and seasons. Here, time moves differently, tangled in loops of chemical feedback, solar variations and geological subduction. What if survival on these planets is not about dominance but about patient persistence? Small pockets of stability nestled amid chaos, atmospheric compositions balancing on a razor's edge, ecosystems hidden just beneath detection. Are these worlds proof that life's habitations are not fixed to ideal conditions, but can endure through quiet adjustment and unexpected grace? Their historic qualities remind us that history is never linear, that survival often involves contradiction, resistance, and adaptation beyond our simplest models. They challenge our ideas of what it means to exist in the cosmos, inviting us to see planets not as static blueprints but as dynamic stories written in the language of change, forgetting, and persistence. Perhaps these misfit worlds carry a message that survival is a whispered defiance, a slow breath held against the pull of oblivion. And as we gaze back at Earth from these distant perspectives, we wonder, what quiet rebellions have taken place here, under our very skies? What layers of memory and forgetting lie beneath our feet, beneath the dust and stone? What does it mean, truly, to resist erasure? Look deeper still, and we encounter clouds pregnant with forgotten chemistry, where storms rage silently beneath hues of amber and teal. These tempests whisper of cycles unseen by human eyes, of atmospheres that breathed through eons before they settled into the moods we now observe. What if beneath their swirling veils lie echoes of ancient oceans, or the faint stirrings of primal processes long stilled? Each puff of gas, each shifting pattern in these atmospheres, may be a breath caught between past and present, a subtle message from planets that remember more than we dare imagine. Could it be that these worlds' stubborn refusal to conform is a lesson in resilience, a testament to survival's quiet descent, not the loud roar of survival we often expect, but the soft persistence of forgotten histories tucked away in the folds of atmosphere and ice, whispering that even in the harshest conditions, life or its traces may endure, and in that endurance perhaps lies hope, not just for these otherworldly realms, but for our own fragile home, clutching its memory in the turning of seasons and the layers of sediment beneath our feet. And yet, if these lost worlds can drift so far from their origins while still carrying whispers of what they once were, what about the wanderers that have no home at all? And yet, if these planets can hold on to their impossible pasts, what other tales might the universe be quietly keeping, just out of sight? Some worlds wander alone, untethered to any star, drifting through the vast black in silence, lost pilgrims cradled by nothing but the emptiness they inhabit. These rogue planets are exiles of the cosmic dance, orphaned travelers cast out from the warmth and light that bind most worlds. But what does it mean to wander without a sun, to exist as a cold, dark sentinel against the endless night? Are these planets failures, mistakes forgotten by the universe's careful design, or might they be something more profound, secret keepers guarding the mysteries of existence far from the gaze of starlight? Theirs is a ghostly existence, drifting through interstellar space with no orbit to call their own. Yet even here, in this seeming abandonment, they persist. Without the steady warmth of a star, the chemistry of these worlds unfolds differently. Slower perhaps, but no less real. Beneath layers of frost, deep in interiors cooled by ages of silence, could pockets of heat carve out refuges for unknown forms of persistence, tiny islands of stability in a sea of cold. Rogue worlds challenge our notions of habitability and survival. They ask quietly without voice whether life requires light and warmth, or whether it can whisper into shadow and silence. Could these dark wanderers harbor ecosystems that defy our understanding, fueled not by sunlight but by geothermal flames or chemical alchemy hidden beneath their frozen crusts? Might they be the final archivists of cosmic history, carrying within their cores stories folded into the very atoms of their being, stories no telescope has yet glimpsed? In their solitary journey, these planets trace paths not ruled by solar orbits, but by the gravitational threads of the galaxy itself, nudged, pulled, and pushed by passing stars, dark matter currents, and the distant tug of massive black holes. They are wanderers in the truest sense, drifting on the cosmic winds of chance and time. Their trajectories map out possibilities that challenge the neat laws we believe govern the heavens, reminding us that the universe is sculpted not only by rules but by randomness and poetry. These errant children hold a silent testimony to the vastness of possibility, a quiet rebellion against the idea that every world must follow a prescribed path. Their existence whispers that the universe is far richer, stranger, and more unpredictable than we imagine. Could they be vessels for life's resilience, or for knowledge ancient beyond our reach? Could their cold surfaces hide warmth still, and beneath that warmth something profoundly alive? And as we watch the stars from our own warm world, nestled in the light of our sun, we wonder what might these rogue travelers have witnessed. What secrets carry they through the dark, far from the eyes of their creators? What are the stories they bear, written in the silence between the stars that we have yet to hear? Sometimes these worlds might pass close enough to stars to borrow their warmth, briefly igniting dormant chemistry swirling beneath frozen skies. Or perhaps they carry thick blankets of atmosphere, trapping fading heat from their molten cores, sewing fragile tapestries of climate far from any life-giving sun. What if life's ember kindles quietly in these shadows, faint and slow, a secret rhythm pulsing beneath the cold exterior? Their isolation makes them hard to find, and even harder to understand. Yet, in that obscurity lies a profound lesson about endurance and the vastness of possibility. They remind us that the universe is not a clock ticking predictably, but a sprawling poem writ large across space and time, where chance and chaos dance with order to shape realities beyond our most careful imaginings. Could each rogue world be a stanza in that poem, a verse carrying the hope and mystery of existence just beyond the stars? And as the dark stretches on around us, we hold these errant children in quiet awe, recognizing that even in their wandering and apparent abandonment, they carry the pulse of the cosmos, a slow, steady heartbeat that whispers of survival against every odds, a reminder that to exist is to resist the fading into nothingness. What secret stories do their cold surfaces guard, woven into the silent dark? What truths might they reveal, if only we had the patience to listen closely enough? And yet, if isolation does not mean forgetting, if wandering does not erase history, what else might be drifting, hidden, and waiting for us in the dark? And yet, if isolation does not mean forgetting, if wandering does not erase history, what else might be drifting, hidden, and waiting for us in the dark? There are worlds beyond our imagining, where fire and ice coexist in impossible harmony. Imagine glaciers clinging stubbornly to volcanic plains, ice fields shielded beneath protective layers of dust, hiding quietly beneath the fury of solar storms that batter their surfaces. In these frozen sanctuaries, cold endures not because it should, but because it must, a testament to balance held in delicate tension. These patches of ice are fingerprints of chance, defying what we have long assumed about what is possible in the fiery chaos of space. On these strange worlds, heat flows beneath icy shells as if in whispered conversation, a slow exchange that allows both to persist in perfect uneasy accord. The sun's fierce rays come crashing down, yet the ice remains, shielded by dust and rocked by storms, a quiet rebellion against entropy's relentless pull. Could it be that life, or whatever pulses quietly beneath, has learned to dance with this tension rather than seek to escape it? Each glacier here is a record, a frozen memory cast in the mineral light of distant suns. They speak, not in words but in isotopes, oxygen and hydrogen locked in crystalline embrace, telling a story of water that has survived against every expectation. What ancient climates lie buried beneath these ice fields? What histories of fire and frost, of loss and renewal, might they whisper to those who know how to listen? These glaciers are not simply ice, but archives of deep time, capturing epochs where cold conquered heat, where chaos yielded to fragile equilibrium. They remind us that our definitions of possibility may be too narrow, shaped by Earth's rhythms rather than the vast complexity of cosmic circumstance. How many other worlds hold such impossible balances, where ice persists beneath scorching suns? And as we contemplate these icy sentinels, we are invited to expand our understanding of survival to include not only endurance but grace, a dance of contrasts that allows life to endure in spite of, or perhaps because of, contradiction and tension. Maybe the universe is full of such paradoxes, places where impossibility becomes the very condition of persistence, and chance writes its own rules in frost and flame. These frozen patches are more than anomalies, they are lessons whispered in the language of atoms and light, teaching us how the laws of nature can bend under the right conditions. Their surfaces are scarred by solar flares, yet beneath the scars lies a fragile sanctuary, a place where water may linger in solid form, defying the heat that seeks to consume it. Could these ice fields hide beneath them traces of ancient seas, relics preserved in frost, waiting quietly for the cosmic winter to release them? On Earth, glaciers are slow poets, their ice writing stories in layers of snowfall and melt, aging over millennia. On these distant worlds, glaciers may tell a similar epic, tales of ancient climate shifts, bursts of volcanic fury, and silent, patient endurance against odds that would seem insurmountable. What if these frozen stories are chapters in a cosmic narrative we have barely begun to read? And all around these glaciers, the dance of particles and radiation continues, a ballet set to the rhythm of a distant sun's heartbeat. The dust that settles on ice is not just impurity, but a protector and a storyteller, trapping memories of solar winds and cosmic rays, of planetary cycles and stellar births. Could it be that ice and dust together form a fragile archive, a kind of natural history book, whose pages are written in crystal and grit? In contemplating these worlds, we are invited to rethink the boundaries of possibility, to embrace the interplay of contradiction and beauty. Perhaps survival is not always about strength, but about balance, the ability to hold opposing forces gently, to find stillness within turbulence. In that delicate dance, we glimpse a universe that refuses to simplify itself, that delights in complexity and contrast. And yet, if glaciers can thrive on suns, defying expectation and rewriting our definitions of possibility, what other miracles might await, resting quietly beyond the veils of dust and light, waiting for patient eyes to find them? And yet, if glaciers can thrive on suns, defying expectation and rewriting our definitions of possibility, what other miracles might await, resting quietly beyond the veils of dust and light, waiting for patient eyes to find them? Around our planet, and indeed across the vast reaches of our solar system, countless remnants of human curiosity and achievement stride silently in their celestial dance, debris, relics, and memories cast adrift in the black. These are the ghosts that orbit, the techno-fossils of an age not yet forgotten, yet slipping inexorably into obscurity. Shattered satellites, silent spacecraft, and fragments of rockets swirl endlessly, tracing patterns shaped by gravity's quiet hands and the persistent pulse of entropy. Each shard, each glint of metal floating in the void, carries within it the weight of vanished intentions, echoes of endeavors to touch the stars, to reach beyond the confines of Earth's blue embrace. Their orbits are not merely physical paths, but poems written in trajectories, moving in loops that seem to mock the passage of time itself. Do these techno-fossils remember us in return? Are they, in some strange way, guardians of history, or are their spirals instead a cosmic song of forgetting, dissolving slowly into the vast silence? The debris fields serve as a somber archive, a slowly fading record of human ambition and error alike. Here lie the remnants of missions long past, satellites that once transmitted signals across the void, now reduced to silent echoes circling a planet slowly swathed in artificial stardust. What stories might these fragments tell if they could speak? Could they carry information not just about technology, but about humanity's hopes, fears, and dreams cast out into space? And what of the shattered comets, fragments torn from long-dead travelers who circled the sun for millennia before being shattered by gravitational tides or solar radiation? These cosmic fossils float among human-made relics, blending natural history with the imprint of civilization. Do their errant paths bear silent testimony to a universe of cycles, creation and destruction intertwined in endless spiral? Orbiting debris may seem like chaos, but even chaos holds a form of order. Gravity shapes these remnants into rings, belts, bands of dust and metal sweeping around planets, reminders that even in ruin exists a pattern, a kind of continuity between past and present. Is it possible that these fields are not just detritus, but landscapes in their own right, archives of time written in shards and shadows? In tracing these orbits, we begin to sense a meditation on memory itself, how histories persist, flicker, and fade. Like fossils buried deep beneath rock, these techno-fossils echo the fragile nature of remembrance. Do they speak of loss, or of resilience? Might their slow decay be a metaphor for our own transient existence, circling endlessly in the vast dark, marked by our attempts to leave a trace? Among this scattered legacy, some pieces drift close enough to be seen by our telescopes, brief flickers against the dark where history meets oblivion. They traverse dynamic landscapes of radiation and magnetism, their surfaces weathered by solar wind and micrometeorite impacts. In these scars reside stories not only of their own voyages, but of the celestial environments they have encountered. Could these marks be read as a form of planetary memory, a biography in metal and glass written by time? Yet even as the fragments fade, new artifacts arise, probes sent by curious hands, spacecraft designed to explore, record, and send back tales that will outlive the stars themselves. These emissaries are the first steps toward permanence in vast impermanence, attempts to cast our presence into the deep night. What might future civilizations glean if they encounter these silent travelers long after we are gone? And what of the cosmic dust that collects and grows from these events? Minute particles born of destruction and creation mingling in the orbital dance, each a shard of story waiting to be told. Are we witnessing the slow knitting of a new cosmos, where endings blend seamlessly into beginnings, where the dust of forgotten dreams becomes the foundation of unexplored futures? In the quiet spaces between these orbiting ghosts, might we find not emptiness but possibility? Could this lingering presence be a kind of collective memory, an archive not of written words but of trajectories and electromagnetic whispers, of silence shaped into form? And as our gaze extends beyond the familiar, past the orbit of the moon and the rings of Saturn, we discover a universe alive with the echoes of its own fading, a story endlessly rewritten in dust and light. What we call debris may be more than mere refuse. It may be the fragile script of survival, the record of becoming penned in the silent void. And yet, If these ghosts orbit as reminders of all that has been, what other songs might the cosmos be humming, just beyond our reach? And yet, if these ghosts orbit as reminders of all that has been, what other songs might the cosmos be humming, just beyond our reach, around barren worlds? Long after oceans have fled and skies have thinned, spectral fingerprints linger, hazy echoes of atmospheres that once breathed with vibrant life. These are the ghosts of air and water, floating silently above desolate plains, subtle traces captured in the faint glow of reflected light. Can we read these whispers, these vestiges of vanished climates? Or are they just faint gestures, memories flickering on the edge of entropy's inexorable pull? The science of spectral analysis lets us peer into the thin veils left behind, teasing out lines of hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, signatures of gases that once wrapped planets like blankets in time. What chemical stories might they tell, these fragile traces? Each molecule a relic of ancient chemistry, perhaps bearing witness to warmer days, richer clouds, and the slow erosion of worlds into silence. We might think of atmospheric loss as erasure, a slow breathing out of a planet's very essence into the void. But could it instead be a transformation, a folding of history into the present, a reshaping of identity in the slow crucible of cosmic winds? What if those spectral ghosts are less about what is gone and more about what refuses to disappear, the stubborn residue of countless cycles etched into the planet's fading breath? Looking deeper, isotope ratios offer clues like whispers in stone. Oxygen isotopes hint at ancient temperatures. Hydrogen ratios sketch the fading outlines of water's presence. These tiny atomic differences are the universe's diaries, recording the passage of epochs with delicate precision. Yet, how much do these isotopes conceal? How much history slips away as their stories grow faint, tangled with cosmic radiation and interstellar dust? In contemplating lost atmospheres, we ask not only what has vanished, but what remains hidden beneath layers of ice, rock, and dust. Subduction zones, where ocean floors dive beneath continents, consume past surface stories, returning them to the mantle to be recycled in silence. Could this planetary forgetting be a necessary part of renewal, a way for worlds to reinvent themselves as they shed the weight of old memories? And in that erasure, might time itself alter how we perceive identity? Could a planet's essence survive not in static form, but in dynamic forgetting, a memory rewritten continuously by heat, pressure, and cosmic violence? What does it mean for something to be lost yet still present, remembered yet erased? Perhaps to read a planet's fading atmosphere is to read a meditation on time and memory itself, an invitation to slow down, to listen to silence, not as absence, but as a presence pregnant with meaning. That spectral glow we see is not just light, but a question shimmering across space, a call to wonder about what histories lie just beyond our grasp, waiting to be heard by patient ears. And yet, if the memory of air and water can persist like this, what other echoes might linger in the quiet shadows of forgotten worlds? And yet, if the memory of air and water can persist like this, what other echoes might linger in the quiet shadows of forgotten worlds? When stars reach the twilight of their lives, they explode in cataclysms of radiant energy, hurling themselves apart in brilliant supernovae. Yet in their death throes, they leave gifts, star bones and stellar ash scattered across the cosmos, remnants that will seed the birth of new worlds. These echoes of endings are also beginnings, stories written in the language of elements reformed, a riddle whispered in the dissonant silence of collapse. From the shell of a dying star, the core may collapse into a neutron star, a compact beacon of density almost incomprehensible, a celestial relic pulsating with magnetic might. Or it may shrink further, a black hole where time and space contract into mysteries, swallowing light and memory alike. These remnants are monuments not only to what has been, but to what is possible, strange engines of transformation in the universe's endless cycle. The dust left in the aftermath of these stellar deaths is no ordinary dust. This cosmic ash is the raw material of creation, forged in fires hotter than any other known forge. Within it lie complex atoms, carbon, oxygen, iron, ingredients that will coalesce into planets, oceans, and even life. What magic stirs in these grains as they drift through interstellar space, waiting to be woven again into new forms? Could this dust carry the genetic material of the stars themselves, a legacy folded into the very fabric of existence? Each supernova is a story of infinity collapsing into a moment, where destruction births potential, where chaos spins the threads of order anew. The light that bursts forth carries tales of elemental synthesis, of pressure and heat beyond imagination, of atoms rebuilt from stellar bones. Do we hear in these brief flashes a whisper of the universe's deepest rhythm, a pulse that links endings with beginnings across the vast gulf of time? We see in neutron stars the galaxy's lighthouses, neutron stars spinning with such speed that their beams sweep space like celestial sentinels. They mark the passage of time in ways both precise and mysterious, reminding us that collapse is not cessation, but metamorphosis, a presence that outlasts its form, and black holes, with horizons beyond which we cannot peer, challenge our understanding of reality. They represent ultimate forgetting, yet perhaps also the womb of new creation, a seedbed from which comes possibility itself. Do these stellar ashes encode wisdom beyond our reckoning? Might they conceal signals, patterns, memories folded within cosmic dust, waiting patiently to be recognized? And as they scatter across the galaxies, what histories do they carry? Histories not just of stars burning bright, but of everything that might arise after their final breath. The universe appears both fierce and tender in these moments, the fierce violence of collapse, the tender promise of renewal. We are caught between these vast forces, carried along in the flow of creation and decay. What might each collapse whisper to us about our place in the cosmos? Could it be that every ending is a beginning wrapped in disguise, every death a doorway to a new dream? These remnants scattered in the cosmic wind become seeds carried across light years, tarrying in nebula, settling in dark clouds where new stars and planets are born. Each grain of stellar ash is a fingerprint of creation, an echo of titanic forces that shape the fate of galaxies. Within this dust, atoms bond, forming molecules that may one day coalesce into oceans, into atmospheres, into life itself. Could these star bones harbor the blueprints of existence, waiting patiently for the convergence of chance and time? Consider the vastness of time these fragments endure, stardust that traveled across countless millennia, bridging the death of stars and the birth of worlds. They are carriers of deep time, messengers connecting cosmic pasts with uncertain futures. Their existence challenges our notions of beginning and end. Might they be the universe's own storytellers, chronicling the endless cycle of creation and decay? And as we ponder these cosmic relics, we come face to face with the essence of impermanence, the knowledge that all things transform, dissolve, and renew. Each supernova's death is a brilliant farewell, yet in its light flickers a promise that endings fold seamlessly into beginnings, that from stellar ashes emerges the promise of all that can be. And so we ask with soft wonder, where does our own story find its place in this dance of birth and death? No collapse is simply an ending, no destruction absolute. In the ashes of stars there lies a quiet invitation, an urge to look beyond the moment, beyond the visible, toward the infinite cycles of transformation that breathe life into the cosmos. Might each mystery wrapped in dust and light be a seed waiting to bloom, a riddle waiting for us to unravel beyond the edges of our knowing. And yet, as the starbones scatter across eternity's sky, we remain, patient and small, listening to the riddles whispered in their slow, silent. And yet, as the starbones scatter across eternity's sky, we remain, patient and small, listening to the riddles whispered in their slow, silent fall. On distant worlds, landscapes shift and change with a fleeting grace. Deserts bloom where none should flourish, only to vanish like dreams when the winds turn. Gaping canyons yawn open under alien suns, their depths carved by water long gone. Then, almost without warning, they disappear, slowly swallowed beneath landslides, encased in frost, erased by the subtle hands of cosmic seasons. What does it mean that these losses leave behind so much structure, so many ghosts of places once vibrant? Are we living in echoes more than in facts? The surface of Mars is a gallery of such absences, traces of rivers that sculpted valleys, layers that recorded climates, scars left by impacts and dust storms. These features persist and fade on overlapping rhythms, like a memory waking and slipping into silence. Yet in their patterns there is a haunting persistence, a shape to forgetting that holds as much meaning as presence. Could the very act of loss be a kind of creation, shaping landscapes that tell stories in their ruins? Erosion, slow, patient, inevitable, works not just to erase, but to sculpt. It carves away details while revealing others hidden beneath, revealing a palimpsest where the past and present coexist in fragile tension. Landslides unfold silently. Frost creeps into crannies with icy fingers and dust dances, layering histories in grains too fine to grasp, but ready to tell their secrets to those who know how to listen. Is it possible that forgetting is less a disappearance than a transformation, a recasting of space and time into new forms of memory? And yet, this process is far from uniform. On some places, the past is stubborn. A canyon endures long after its river has dried. A crater remains visible long after its impact. The interplay of freeze and thaw, dust and flash floods, paints landscapes that are at once alive and dead, present and vanished. What does it mean to see such a place, knowing it is both a relic and a living canvas, forever in flux? These rhythms of loss and persistence challenge our understanding of time. Are the deserts that come and go on Martian plains mere phenomena, or do they hint at cycles beyond human comprehension? Do they ask us to rethink what it means to remember, to forget? Could the shapes of forgetting themselves be a language, a map for navigating the vast unknown? And as we dream of these ever-changing terrains, we wonder if loss can leave such intricate footprints. What other forms of memory might endure, unseen and waiting for us beneath layers of sand, ice, and silence? Beneath the surface of forgotten worlds, beneath the shifting sands and layers of dust, lie hidden relics waiting in quiet anticipation, like secrets buried in the heart of the universe. These ruins and echoes beckon us to look deeper, to listen beyond sight and touch. As we begin to understand these landscapes, perhaps we start to understand ourselves, for we too are shaped by loss, by memory, by the slow carving away of what once was, revealing what now is. Could it be that forgetting, far from absence, is a space filled with possibility, a canvas where new histories may yet be inscribed? And just like these distant terrains, our own existence is folded within the ceaseless dance of remembering and forgetting, presence and absence, time and timelessness, weaving a tapestry that stretches infinitely beyond the horizons of sleep and waking thought. And yet, if even the shape of forgetting can both hold and release memory, what other mysteries might the universe be, quietly inscribing in silence, waiting patiently to be found? And yet, if even the shape of forgetting can both hold and release memory, what other mysteries might the universe be quietly inscribing in silence, waiting patiently to be found? Deep within asteroids and meteorites, far from the warming light of any star, crystals form that should not exist. They twist and turn in impossible shapes, born from pressures and temperatures that by the laws of physics ought to have melted them away. Yet here they endure, ancient relics of cosmic alchemy. These patterns etched in stone challenge our understanding of time, resilience, and memory itself. What quirks of physics, mystery, or sheer cosmic luck have allowed these improbable crystals to persist? These mineral marvels are not random but deliberate, structured with mathematical precision despite the chaos around them. They are the slow, patient testimony to conditions that no longer exist, fossilized moments where the universe held its breath. Locked deep within their lattices are stories of collisions, of heat and compression, of elements forged under extraordinary conditions across millions of years. Could these crystals be the universe's own diary, etched not in words but in the silent geometry of matter? As we peer closer, we find evidence of metamorphosis, transformations that might only be possible in the vacuum of space, shielded from the ravages of planetary weather and tectonics. The crystals bear scars and growth rings, like ancient trees, revealing cycles of heating and cooling, of pressures rising and falling over epochs too vast for human fathoming. What secrets whisper from these frozen archives? Their survival prompts a meditation on memory and endurance. If these patterns persist against impossible odds, what do they tell us about the nature of persistence in a universe ruled by entropy? Could it be that beneath the apparent decay and destruction, there lies a slumbering order, threads of continuity weaving through the cosmic tapestry? Might these crystalline forms hold clues to the universe's subtle resilience? And yet, as we gaze upon their silent beauty, we must ask, are these stones merely survivors, or are they active participants in the grand cosmic narrative, encoding within their structures the possibilities of worlds yet to come? What other remnants might be hiding in space's shadows, waiting to be discovered not by chance, but through the gentle art of patient observation? Could these crystals be not just relics of the past, but keys to understanding the future, whispers from time's deep well revealing how matter remembers, transforms, and endures beyond the limits of human imagination? And if each crystal holds a story, what stories of survival and change might the universe still be holding, folded in the heart of what we cannot yet see? These crystals may have endured countless journeys, invisible pilgrims across the fabric of space and time, surviving collisions, cosmic radiation, and the slow heat of improbability. Could their very survival be a quiet defiance against the relentless march of entropy, an echo of a universe that clings to form amidst dissolution? And if so, what lessons might they teach us about the hidden order beneath the apparent chaos of existence? Within their complex structures, these crystals weave stories of ancient stars long gone, of fiery births and cold dormancy, of chemical dances choreographed by physics yet imbued with the poetry of chance. Each twist and angle is a verse in a poem written in stone, a silent testament to the resilience of matter. Might these stones carry within them the code for new beginnings, the blueprint for creation itself? And if the universe is shaped in part by this hidden order in the smallest forms, what does that say about the grandest scales, the galaxies, the clusters, the vast cosmic web? Are we, perhaps, only beginning to glimpse the threads that connect all things, from the tiniest crystal to the farthest star? As our eyes adjust to the darkness, to the slow rhythm of space, we realize that these impossible crystals are not just curiosities, but guideposts, markers on a journey through the mystery of time and matter. They ask us to listen with patience, to see with wonder, and to understand that sometimes survival is quiet, almost imperceptible, and yet no less profound. And yet, if these crystals can endure beyond all expectations, what other secrets might still be crystallizing in the dark, waiting for the gentle light of discovery to reveal them? And yet, if these crystals can endure beyond all expectations, what other secrets might still be crystallizing in the dark, waiting for the gentle light of discovery to reveal them? Across the vast theater of space, light itself becomes a storyteller, painting the cosmos with colors that speak of ancient fires and lost eruptions. Through the prism of spectroscopy, we peer into the past, reading the spectral lines as flames trapped in stone and starlight, chemical fingerprints of worlds that once breathed with volatile energy and dynamic metamorphosis. Could the universe itself be an artist, layering time and color in ways we are only beginning to perceive? Each spectral line is a note in a celestial symphony, revealing eruptions that shook worlds apart, transforming their surfaces and atmospheres. These ancient fires, now etched into mineral structures and elemental abundances, shine faintly across space, telling stories of firestorms that raged long before we existed. What chemistry dances in these stellar ashes? What memories lie in the glow of sulfur, iron, and carbon compounds forged under unimaginable heat? We see in this fiery palette the shifting moods of planetary surfaces, volcanoes that once spouted flame and ash, oceans of magma slow cooling into solid crust, atmospheres saturated with compounds that no longer exist. Could these colors be the universe's own paintbrush strokes, capturing moments of creation and destruction, layering patterns that resist the blurring of time? Looking closer, we understand that light and matter intertwine to reveal the alchemy of change, the interplay of heat, pressure, and chemistry that sculpts planets and stars. Spectral fingerprints shift subtly, encoding shifts in temperature and composition, tracing processes as ancient as the galaxies themselves. How much detail can we unlock from these glowing trails? Could they speak of lost eruptions that reshaped climates or of chemical oceans that vanished into silence? The universe reveals itself not just in forms and motions but in color and resonance, in the delicate reflections of ancient fire. Could each crimson glow, each iridescent shimmer, be a memory waiting for a witness? Could these subtle hues be messages from the past, layered in time like brushstrokes on the vast canvas of space? And as we stand at the edge of discovery, what new dimensions of color, time, and memory await our patient gaze? Could the cosmos itself be a living painting, eternally evolving, endlessly vivid, holding secrets in shades yet unseen? Colors born of ancient fire tell of violence and beauty intertwined, of magma seas, simmering beneath frozen skies, of sulphurous plumes rising to meet cold voids. Each spectral hue captures a moment of transformation, a planet shedding old skin, a star releasing its innermost secrets, a cosmos painting with the palette of time itself. What symphonies unfold in these layers of light? What stories are encoded in the radiant language of elements heated and hardened across eons? This dance of chemistry and light is a reminder that the universe itself creates artistry from chaos, beauty from destruction. Could it be that every eruption, every flash, every glowing ember in the night sky is a deliberate stroke on a cosmic canvas, one that extends far beyond human perception and calls us to see in new ways? Our instruments become brushes, painting with photons and spectra, revealing layers of history once invisible. Each dataset is a verse, each spectrum a stanza, and as we gather these lines, they weave a narrative larger than any single star or planet. What if the universe's true masterpiece is not in the objects we see, but in the interplay of color and time, an eternal creation unfolding before our patient eyes? And if these colors tell stories still unread, what might lie in spectral shadows, in wavelengths yet unexplored? Could there be hues that sing of worlds unimagined, of processes beyond our physics, waiting quietly to be unveiled by the next whispered flash? And yet, if the universe paints in ancient fires, what new canvases might the future hold, stretching endlessly into the dark with colors we have yet to dream? And yet, if the universe paints in ancient fires, what new canvases might the future hold, stretching endlessly into the dark with colors we have yet to dream? Yet there are places even more profound, breathless depths, absolute vacuums nestled within the cosmic fabric, where matter and energy hesitate to tread. These pockets defy expectation, existing in forms and purities that mathematics itself struggles to predict. Here, in the perfect silence of the void, is there purity or secret violence? What do such absences shape or protect? In these breathless depths, particles are absent not by simple emptiness, but by the complex dance of quantum fields, a subtle balance where fluctuations bubble in and out of existence. Such voids challenge our notions of space and time, where the very fabric frays and reforms, where creation and annihilation blur. Might these zones of emptiness be the universe's hidden heartbeats, pulses in silence that guard the boundaries of possibility? Measured by instruments swimming in cosmic rays and gravitational whispers, these vacuums are pockets of perfection, untouched by the faintest atom, the smallest photon. Yet they may hold within them the seeds of everything that can be, pure potential waiting for the slightest nudge. Is this purity a cosmic womb, a place of quiet genesis, or a silent guardian, preserving the fragile edges of reality from dissolution? The paradox of nothingness is its fullest presence. In the breathless void, The absence of substance creates conditions for existence to emerge, balancing between chaos and order. Could these perfect vacuums be sanctuaries of stability amid cosmic entropy, spaces where time itself slows, where the rules bend but do not break? And if absence holds such power, what does it tell us about the nature of presence, of what it means to exist at all? Might identity be defined not only by what is there, but by what is carefully held away, by the meticulous architecture of void? In these breathless depths, might the universe be both more orderly and more mysterious than we imagine, crafting spaces both empty and full? The human heart, in its quiet moments, sometimes mirrors these vacuums, a peaceful silence that is not emptiness, but a deep receptive openness. Could our contemplation of the breathless depths be a way of learning to embrace absence as much as presence, finding meaning in the spaces between thoughts, the silence between breaths? Slowly, as if tracing a delicate thread through the vastness of space, we begin to understand that these vacuums may not be a negation but a foundation, a quiet stage upon which the cosmic drama unfolds. They are reminders that sometimes the absence of matter grants the conditions for everything to begin anew, that the purest silence may be the most fertile soil for creation. Could these breathless depths be the universe's way of cradling future possibilities, holding space for dreams not yet born, for stories too fragile to emerge in noise? In this light, the breathless void becomes a paradoxical sanctuary, where the architecture of nothingness shapes the very nature of everythingness. It invites us to reconsider our desire for fullness, to find grace in emptiness, and to welcome the uncertain spaces where life, memory, and time might flow differently, slower, deeper, waiting for the patient eye and heart to see beyond the visible. These perfect vacuums teach us that absence is not simple void, but a crucible of potential, a place where the unmanifest lingers just out of reach, waiting to unfold into form. They are thresholds where the universe gathers itself, a place of silent gestation, where the smallest quivers may give rise to the grandest transformations. Could it be that in these vacuums, the universe breathes in a rhythm imperceptible to us, its pulse slow, deliberate, and ancient? And yet, if the breathless depths teach us to cherish absence as much as presence, what other forgotten lessons might the universe hold, whispered softly in the endless dark? And yet, if breathless depths hold such paradoxical power, what else might we have yet to forget? Across the vast cosmic ocean, echoes ripple through space and time, radar pulses bouncing off distant bodies, gravity waves whispering tales of colliding stars, and ancient photons tracing pathways from the dawn of the universe. These signals linger far longer than their creators, suspended in a cosmic memory that outlasts epochs and civilizations. What if these echoes belong not only to things that were, but to entities still listening, waiting, or perhaps watching silently from the darkness? These cosmic reverberations challenge our notions of presence and absence, of silence and sound. In the cold expanse, the crash of neutron stars sends gravitational waves that stretch and squeeze the fabric of space-time itself, their fades a lullaby to the stars. Yet these waves travel untouched, unforgotten, carrying memory across the gulf of time and space. Could it be that the universe remembers in waves and vibrations, in rhythms beyond hearing or sight? Light itself becomes an echo, photons trapped in the cosmic microwave background, fossils of a time when the universe was young and fiery. These ancient signals are the first words of creation, preserved in a glow that bathes us still. What stories are woven into this hum? What secrets locked within these relics of primordial light? And what of the radar signals sent from Earth? Fragile calls sent outward into the abyss. Do they ripple through the cosmos like pebbles cast upon a water's surface? Could some distant watcher catch these faint murmurs, deciphering the patterns that speak of our existence, or perhaps mistake them for the chatter of eternity itself? Even silence might be a kind of echo, not emptiness, but the ghost of sound long past, a vacuum filled with the residue of something once vibrant. In contemplating these persistent echoes, we begin to wonder what else might hum beneath the veil of noise, the hidden conversations of particles, waves, and dark matter, communicating in a language we have yet to learn. Are these echoes the mark of a cosmos alive with memory, reverberating with histories both seen and unseen? And if so, what might they tell us about the nature of time? Is it a river flowing all at once, or a spiral where past and future converge, eternally echoing? Listen closely to the vast dark and you may find subtle voices carried on cosmic winds, particles communicating over vast distances, waves bending through space-time, murmurs hidden within the fabric of reality itself. What if these persistent echoes are not only memories but ongoing conversations, an ancient chorus of existence that invites participation rather than silence? Could we be part of this grand symphony, our own thoughts and actions weaving into the music of stars and shadows? The concept of time ripples through this mystery, folded within echoes that blur past, present, and future. Gravity waves from colliding black holes echo across billions of years, radio waves bounce and scatter in unpredictable ways, and photons linger, caught in a cosmic web of possibilities. What if time is less a river and more a vast, intricate pattern, where memory loops back upon itself endlessly? Could the echoes floating through the cosmos be proof that nothing ever truly vanishes, but transforms and refracts in endless permutations? Across the silent vastness, signals are born, transmitted, and sometimes lost, yet their traces remain, waiting like a lullaby long after the singer has gone. Is the universe itself a guardian of these sounds, keeping alive a patchwork of stories and questions? Could the faintest echo be a message we are only beginning to understand? And if so, what does it mean for us, for our own brief moments, that our voices might ripple through such immensity, joining a vast conversation older than memory? And yet, if echoes persist, if the universe carries its memories forward in waves and light, what other silent stories might still be humming in the depths of space, waiting for patient ears to hear? And yet, if echoes persist, if the universe carries its memories forward in waves and light, what other silent stories might still be humming in the depths of space, waiting for patient ears to hear? On moons far from the warmth of suns like our own, erosion writes with strange winds, not of air but of charged particles and chemicals, weaving landscapes in slow, relentless transformation. Iron storms sweep over dusty plains, stripping and reshaping in ways unfamiliar to us. Methane rain falls like quiet tears, etching patterns carved not by water but by cold, hydrocarbon storms. Searing tides rise and fall, pulled by gravitational rhythms that stretch across alien calendars far longer than a human lifetime can hold. How does erosion remember and erase on these worlds, sculpting both the fleeting and the eternal? In this alien theatre, erosion becomes an act of silent testimony, rewriting surfaces over epochs, measured not in years but in cycles dictated by distant stars and the slow shifts of celestial mechanics. Here the erosion is both sculptor and storyteller, obliterating some traces while preserving others, leaving us with cryptic relics and landscapes that pulse with the history of alien climates. Could it be that the scars left by iron rages and methane rains are a language, a whispered history written across the windswept dunes and frozen plains? These processes reshape moons in ways we are only beginning to understand. Surface chemistry changes and dust storms dance in mineral canyons, revealing the subtle interplay of cosmic radiation and planetary forces. Each grain of dust may contain the memory of countless cycles of erosion and renewal, a natural record that stretches back through uncountable seasons. How might these records differ from terrestrial erosion, and what can they tell us about the universality of decay and change? The slow but inexorable erosion on these distant moons reminds us that time, like water, wind, and stone on Earth, is a patient artist carving and recarving the gallery of worlds. It's a meditation on transformation, a reminder that landscapes are never static but alive with processes both destructive and creative. Could the alien erosion tell us something about the resilience of matter in extremes, about the ways existence persists through time and turbulence? And as we contemplate these far-off worlds, shaped by forces other yet deeply familiar, we begin to wonder, how does erosion preserve memory? Is it a relentless eraser, or a keeper of stories? Could each streak across a moon's surface be a note in a cosmic song played on iron winds and methane rains? Consider the forces at play, far different yet deeply linked to those on Earth. Charged particles sweeping across frozen plains, energetic enough to rewrite the chemistry of icy surfaces, yet silent to human senses. Imagine the methane rains, falling not as we know but as delicate whispers in cold atmospheres, slowly sculpting the land beneath shimmering skies. How do these alien erosions echo the ancient processes that once shaped our own planet? Could the universality of decay and transformation be a thread weaving together worlds so vastly different and yet so unimaginably alike? And what of the histories lost and preserved in these alien environments? The dust and ice may conceal secrets of epochs long past, exotic climates and forgotten cycles recorded in layers too fine for any eye but patient science to perceive. These landscapes offer us not only clues to alien geologies but reflections of our own fragile place in the cosmos, where time's erosive hand shapes fate in both quiet and violent ways. The dance of erosion on other worlds invites a meditation on memory, how it is kept, how it fades. Might erasure be another form of inscription, a way for the cosmos to fold its stories into new shapes, to release some while holding others? And in that ebb and flow, might there lie a profound connection between forgetting and remembering, a cosmic rhythm we are only just beginning to understand? And as we let these thoughts settle like dust on ancient stones, we wonder, if erosion beyond Earth can write such complex and haunting sagas, what other tales are hidden in the quiet motions of the universe, waiting to be read by the gentle touch of time? And yet, if erosion beyond Earth can keep such memories, what other secrets might be inscribed in the slow dance of decay throughout the cosmos? Black holes are the universe's architects of absence, warping not only light but the very fabric of space and time, creating horizons beyond which certainty fades. These enigmatic regions challenge our deepest understandings, where gravity curves existence into forms both terrifying and magnificent. Yet, if their horizons are not absolute endings, what fragile artifacts might slip through their edges, surviving in the spaces between presence and oblivion? In the realm near a black hole, time itself slows, morphing and folding in impossible ways. Could this warping of space-time be a kind of cosmic memory, where moments stretch beyond comprehension, preserving fragments of what once was even as they disappear? Might black holes be not just consumers of matter and light, but keepers of stories, cradling echoes of everything they have swallowed? The singularity at a black hole's core remains hidden behind its event horizon, a boundary beyond which our laws falter. But what if this boundary is not a wall but a veil, a threshold where matter transforms, where information is not lost but encoded in ways we have yet to understand? Could particles and waves crossing this edge become delicate artifacts, slipping into dimensions unseen, carrying whispers from the heart of darkness? Observations hint that black holes might radiate faint signals, quantum by nature, escaping the grip of oblivion in subtle leaks. These hints challenge the idea of absolute erasure, suggesting instead a cosmos woven with delicate threads of continuity and recovery. What might these signals reveal about the nature of forgetting, about the persistence of memory in the face of annihilation? Could black holes be gateways rather than graves, archiving the collapse of stars while seeding new possibilities beyond our current horizons? Might every swallowed atom carry encoded fragments of existence, waiting for cosmic alchemists to decipher their meaning? And what of the fragile balance at play, the tension between destruction and preservation, between the collapse of form and the persistence of essence? As we gaze into these architects of absence, we are invited to reflect on the fluidity of endings and beginnings. What if every erasure is a transformation, every void rich with potential yet unseen? If black holes sculpt the shape of forgetting itself, then how might we comprehend the edges of existence where certainty dissolves? but something else, something fragile and profound endures. And yet, if these dark architects carve out realms that defy grasp, what other traces, what fragile presences might be sheltering just beyond the veil, waiting for the light of inquiry to reveal them? In this shadowed theatre, black holes also reflect the paradox of time and memory, where cycles of destruction may birth new realms of possibility, and endings fold upon beginnings. They stand as both erasers and creators, sculptors of space where matter and light twist into new forms. Could their enigmatic presence be the universe's way of reminding us that certainty is fragile, and that every horizon may conceal an unknown passage beyond? Could we, in our quiet contemplation of these cosmic architects, glimpse the delicate balance between the fleeting and the eternal, the visible and the hidden? Could the fragments escaping these colossal voids hold the stories of lifetimes folded in silence? Could their silent tremors be the echoes of beginnings, the breaths before a new cosmic dawn? And as we stare into the abyss, what fragile artifacts might we find waiting for us to understand? What light can we shed on the realms where the known thins and the unknowable thickens? Could these spaces beyond the veil be not ends but thresholds, not absence but reservoirs of memory and meaning? And yet, if these architects craft absence with such profound subtlety, what other mysteries might await patience and wonder beyond the horizons of our grasp? As we allow ourselves to linger in these deliberate voids, these sculpted silences of the cosmos, we might begin to grasp the delicate interplay of presence and absence that defines our universe and ourselves. And yet, if the architects of absence craft such fragile mysteries, what other forms of forgetting and remembering shape the very ground beneath our feet, unfolding in silent layers just beyond our sight? And yet, if the architects of absence craft such fragile mysteries, what other forms of forgetting and remembering shape the very ground beneath our feet, unfolding in silent layers just beyond our sight? Across the silent reaches of space, our own species has begun to leave its mark, not in stone or fossil, but in patterns knitted by thinking hands, in fading signals and drifting probes. These are our technofossils, fragments of human curiosity and industry now woven into the vast fabric of cosmic geology. As tools and machine-strewn debris gather in orbital debris fields, they form a new kind of sediment, a layer of presence tracing our ephemeral passage beyond Earth. What might these lost signals and buried implements become in the myths of tomorrow? Our civilization's delicate footprint in space is a story written not only in metal and plastic, but in intention and wonder. Old satellites, worn and silent, float like relics of a digital age, their circuits dark but their journeys still unfolding. These drifting artifacts whisper of our hopes and fears, messages in bottles cast into the cosmic sea. Could some future mind find these fragments and read in them the essence of a species still to be? The patterns of these technofossils stretch beyond mere debris, weaving into structures and orbits, the handiwork of human design now part of the celestial dance. They become accidental monuments in the vastness, unintentionally sacred and timeless. Do these objects remember us, or are they simply silent witnesses to a fleeting moment? Might they vibrate faintly with the echoes of human dreams for as long as they survive? Within these scattered remains lies a meditation on legacy and forgetfulness. As gravity pulls debris to uncertain destinations, as radiation slowly degrades materiality, there is a slow fading, a cosmic erosion of identity. Yet within this loss, there is also a persistence, an ongoing conversation between presence and absence that defines memory itself. Could our technofossils become the fossils of a kind yet unknown, telling stories of invention, exploration, and impermanence? And what of the signals we send outward? Radio waves, digital pulses, bursts of data sent to unknown horizons. Might these transmissions outlast their creators, drifting eternally through the void? Could they now be distant echoes among the stars, waiting to be heard by others or by ourselves in futures we cannot imagine? In contemplating our mark upon the cosmos, we confront questions of meaning and continuity. of the threads we leave in the great tapestry of existence. Our tools, our signals, our scattered fragments may become the myths of tomorrow, the whispers in the dark that tell of a species that dreamed beyond its world, reaching for the infinite. And yet, if our techno-fossil dreams are now part of cosmic geology, what other human traces might lie hidden, waiting for patient discovery across the endless archaeology of space? Across the silent darkness, where ancient stars once burned bright, our own stories begin to merge with the cosmic narrative in curious forms. The space our satellites occupy is like a vast, evolving strata, a new geological layer, etched and not in stone but in circuitry and scattered debris. These techno-fossils do not just mark our presence, they whisper the tale of a species reaching beyond itself, touching infinity with fragile tools and sparks of thought. What if these remnants become archetypes, the mythology of future worlds interpreting silent ruins as sacred relics? Within this unfolding sediment lie questions woven deep. Can a species' essence be distilled into objects and signals? How long might these human echoes persist against the harsh currents of cosmic time? And what might future beings gazing at our scattered artifacts learn about the fleeting blaze of consciousness, the yearning to know and to be? Perhaps our technofossils reveal not only the fragility of being, but the unexpected resilience in absence, the beauty in transient existence. They serve as reminders that memory and identity are not pure, continuous threads, but patchwork sewn across time and space, stitched by acts of both creation and forgetting. Could the scattered shards of our civilization outlast monuments of stone, becoming new forms of legend, inscribed in the slow rhythm of the cosmos itself? And as we watch these relics drift in the vastness, an intricate dance of presence and loss, we realize that our story, like the universe's, is not linear but cyclical, woven through echoes and silences, beginnings folded within endings, and endings that promise new beginnings. And yet, if beneath the stars our technofossil dreams lie waiting, what other human traces might still lie hidden, carried in beams of light or dust, waiting to be rediscovered by seekers yet to come? And yet, if beneath the stars our technofossil dreams lie waiting, what other human traces might still lie hidden, carried in beams of light or dust, waiting to be rediscovered by seekers yet to come? Every atom in the universe holds a story, a record etched deep within isotopic ratios that flicker like faint signals across geologic time. These are the legible scripts of existence, the whispering library hidden not in pages but in the elemental essence of matter itself. Could we someday learn to read these signatures as one reads a diary, unraveling the whispered regrets and triumphs of the cosmos? In the subtle imbalances of isotopes, variations of oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, we find timeless chronicles of cataclysms and climates, the slow blinking of eons replayed in ratios that stoically mark change. These tiny differences carry immense tales. They reveal epochs of mass extinction and revival, of icy worlds thawing and volcanic spheres igniting anew. What secrets do these isotopes guard, etched patiently as a ledger of the universe's shifting moods? Each isotope acts as a quiet historian within stone and air, preserving the echoes of climates long forgotten and the fingerprints of cosmic events that shaped planetary destinies. Could we interpret these atomic footprints as love letters from distant stars, reminders of the fragile balance woven through every breath of existence? The slow decay and rebirth captured in isotopic change invite reflection on the nature of time itself, a flow imagined as linear but recorded in cyclical spirals, folding back upon itself like the veins of ancient leaves. Might these cycles be memory's architecture, allowing the universe to remember and rewrite itself across the vast theatre of existence? Beneath the veneer of frozen rock and atmospheric haze lies a dynamic ledger, folding the past and present seamlessly. Ocean subduction, the swallowing of crust by planetary interiors, recycles memories into the fiery heart, folding environmental stories into new origins. Is this cosmic forgetting actually renewal, a natural process of shedding and reshaping that echoes in the isotopes we seek to understand? And as we study these signatures, we find ourselves drawn into an intimate dance with time, learning to hear memory in the whisper of atoms, secret languages that softly speak of survival through change and the persistence of worlds against oblivion. Could reading these diaries bring us closer to the cosmos's unspoken narratives, the universal longing etched in every fraction of matter? Through the patient work of scientists unraveling isotopic codes, we glimpse not only the histories of planets, but the slow interplay of cosmic forces shaping existence itself. Each subtle shift in atomic ratios reflects turbulence and calm, destruction and regeneration, marking epochs where the universe sighs in new forms. Could this molecular whisper be our greatest connection to the vast tapestry of time, an echo louder than light, a memory deeper than stone? Is it possible that one day these elemental diaries might unfold their secrets fully, revealing stories of forgotten worlds, vanished oceans and climates lost to the eons? Might they hold clues to epochs where life flourished in ways now alien to us, or signs of cosmic events that altered the fabric of reality? In this reading, the universe becomes a storyteller whose voice we are only beginning to hear, a keeper of regrets and hopes knitted into the smallest grains of matter. This language of isotopes directs us past appearances, into the heart of what endures beneath erosion and decay. It invites us into a meditation on permanence and transience, on what it means to be remembered and forgotten. Could the slow blinking of atoms be the universe's way of singing both lament and lullaby, offering a space where loss and preservation dance in ceaseless fold? And so as we trace these whispers, we are drawn into a cosmic dialogue, one where the past speaks softly through the medium of matter, where time's layered archives beckon us to listen with patience and reverence. Might this silent script be the key to understanding our own fleeting place in the cosmos, as well as the deep, intertwined nature of memory itself? And yet, if this is a library beyond words, waiting patiently in the shimmer of isotopes, what other unread volumes of the universe lie just beyond, shimmering in the silence between moments? And yet, if this is a library beyond words waiting patiently in the shimmer of isotopes, what other unread volumes of the universe lie just beyond, shimmering in the silence between moments? Far beyond the reach of human sight, pulsars dwell, ghostly remnants of dead stars swinging beams of radiation like cosmic lighthouses across impossible distances. These signals, precise and unfaltering, cut through the dark vastness of space, each pulse a metronome marking the passage of cosmic time. Are these the heartbeats of stars long extinguished, or something more profound, a message encoded in rhythm, a call from the depths of the universe we are not yet made to receive? In the silence between pulses, we might wonder what stories these signals carry. Are they mere echoes of stellar collapse, or vibrations laden with information? A cosmic Morse code waiting for patient listeners with ears tuned to the void. Could these pulses be markers of time itself, or could they be signs of something watching, something conscious etched in the beats we barely understand? These remarkable remnants neutron stars spin with such ferocity that they challenge our notions of matter and time. Their magnetic fields are trillions of times stronger than Earth's, warping space and energy around them in a dance of extremes. Each beam that sweeps past us is a whisper from these celestial skeletons, reminders that death can be a form of persistence, a heartbeat echoed across the dark. The steady pulse of these stars invites reflection on what it means to endure, to be remembered. Might the universe be a vast organism, its heartbeats scattered across light years, each pulse a testament to resilience in the face of annihilation? Could these signals be the faintest traces of life's own rhythms, mirrored in the cosmic dance? And as we listen, quiet and reverent, we're drawn to the edges of knowing, wondering if these pulsing shadows hold secrets deeper than science can currently fathom. Could the messages within their steady beats reveal histories written not in stone but in light and time? Might we one day decode their language, discovering thoughts from cosmic depths beneath their rhythmic cloaks? The lighthouses of space challenge the silence, transforming void into voice, darkness into pattern. Their pulses weave through the cosmic fabric, a tapestry of time that binds the living and the dead in a ceaseless rhythm. Are we too part of this grand pulse, a flicker in the universal heartbeat? In the silence of space, amidst the orchestra of cosmic pulses, there may lie rhythms that challenge the very nature of perception, vibrations that beckon us to expand our senses beyond the ordinary. What if some pulses carry the secret codes of existence, the language of creation itself, sung in a dialect not yet known to any being? Could we learn to attune ourselves to this celestial music, to hear the unheard and see the unseen? The universe hums with possibility, a vast canvas painted with shadows and light, silence and sound, presence and absence. These pulsars, with their unwavering beat, might be invitations to dream deeper, to explore the hidden layers of reality that resonate within and beyond the stars. In the gentle cadence of their signals, we might find not only the echoes of dead stars but the heartbeat of the cosmos itself, a rhythm that connects all things in the endless dance of time. And yet, if these shadows pulse with such profound stories, what other mysteries might wait silently, softly, just beyond the limits of our hearing, inviting us to step quietly into the unknown? And yet, if these shadows pulse with such profound stories, what other mysteries might wait, silently, softly, just beyond the limits of our hearing, inviting us to step quietly into the unknown? Dust is the universe's quiet architect, a sculptor working patiently across eons, gathering in rings, belts and clouds that trace the rhythms of unseen forces. These swirling monuments seem at first glance chaotic, but beneath their restless dance lies a deeper pattern, a birth of structure from seeming disorder. Is chaos really just another word for an order we have yet to understand? Could the dust be crafting its own stories, silent yet eloquent, written not in words but in shapes and motion? In the vastness surrounding planets and stars, clouds of dust weave complex tapestries, shifting slowly under winds of magnetism and gravity. The motions of tiny grains, buffeted by solar radiation and collisions, create shimmering rings and faint outlines of cosmic history. Could these dust assemblies be seen as living sculptures, dynamic and ever-changing, preserving traces of creation as they spiral through space? Each dust grain holds a history of distant cataclysms, remnants of shattered worlds, frozen in time. They are tiny archives, preserving elements forged in stellar furnaces and carrying echoes of primordial collisions. How might these specks of dust remember the chaos that birthed them, the collisions and quiet accumulation that shaped their existence? As dust converges, it forms the first whispers of planets, the earliest shapes out of cosmic rubble. From chaos, structure slowly emerges, a reminder that creation is often woven from disorder and debris. What lessons might this give us about resilience, about finding form in formlessness, about the slow magic of becoming? These ever-morphing monuments of dust invite us to perceive the universe not as static, but as a living web, a narrative constantly rewritten with new threads. They blur the edges between absence and presence, between void and matter, showing us that pattern and chaos are entwined inseparably. Could our own lives too be like dust, fleeting yet integral parts of a vast swirling story? And as we watch these cosmic dust motifs slowly unfold, swirling in silent motion, we begin to wonder what other hidden patterns might lie in the ether, shaping realities in ways our eyes cannot see or our minds cannot yet grasp. These questions, gentle and insistent, invite us to keep looking, to remain part of the dance between knowing and mystery. Consider the delicate balance of forces that keep dust suspended and swirling, as if choreographed by unseen hands, gravity's gentle tug, magnetic fields unseen, radiation pushing softly against each grain. In this delicate dance, chaos births coherence, randomness becomes a hidden pattern, and what appears as dust becomes the cradle of new beginnings. Could this be a mirror of life itself, ever shifting, evolving, finding form amid formlessness? The monuments of dust invite us to look closer, to find stories folded in grains too small to touch, but large enough to hold universes. Through telescopes and spectrometers, we catch glimpses of these cosmic sculptures, learning their shapes, rhythms, and the slow story of celestial evolution encoded in their motions. Could hidden within their swirls be the memories of cataclysms, collisions, and reunions that animate the cosmic dance? And yet these dust patterns are ephemeral, delicate, infinitely transformable, writing stories that never settle but always become. What if the universe itself is a story told in dust and light, a never-ending poem where every speck is a word, every ring a stanza? Could understanding this poetry change how we see ourselves, not as separate from the cosmos, but as woven into its endless unfolding? And as we watch the monuments of dust form and dissolve across the endless dark, we wonder what other patterns, what other forms of memory and meaning lie waiting to be found, softly shaping the ever-shifting beauty of our universe. In this endless dance, the dust becomes a meditation on time, change, and the mysterious rhythm of existence itself. Could the swirling grains be a metaphor for our own impermanence, forever forming, dissolving, and reforming in new patterns? Might we find in these cosmic motifs a reflection of the delicate, transient beauty that defines our own brief moment in the vastness? And yet, if dust is both poet and page, artist and artifact, what other stories might be hidden in the silent folds of space, waiting for patient eyes to see beyond? And yet, if monuments of dust mark the birth of worlds in chaos, what other creations might the universe be quietly shaping in the endless dark? Somewhere, beyond the reach of our senses, a vast tapestry is woven, its threads not spun from fiber but from light, shadow, memory, and entropy. This is the great loom of time, where moments, matter, and meaning intertwine in patterns both intricate and fleeting. What does this tapestry remember, and what might it willingly forget? The net of existence stretches across the cosmos, each thread connecting atoms to galaxies, futures to pasts, presence to absence. Entropy tugs at these threads, fraying edges and pulling strands loose, yet weaving others anew in an endless cycle of unmaking and remaking. Could it be that forgetting is part of this creation, that loss, as much as memory, shapes the fabric of reality? Within this weaving, light and shadow play their parts, photons racing across space-time, painting the loom with flickers of history, while darkness holds the spaces between, cradling secrets too subtle for human perception. Might these gaps be places of mystery and possibility, where memory dissolves only to be reborn in new forms? Each moment weaves itself into the next, a pattern that resists finality. The past is never truly lost but folded within the present's folds, a subtle echo riding on the breath of existence. Could the tapestry be a record not just of events but of forgetting itself, the deliberate erasure that grants room for change? This grand weaving invites us to reflect on the nature of time and identity. If we are threads in the loom, then what patterns do we form, what memories do we carry, and what do we surrender to the unraveling? Might the universe itself be a vast narrative, continually edited in the interplay of light and shadow, remembering and forgetting? The loom stretches endlessly, an eternal work still in progress, capable of hiding vast layers beneath its surface. What subtexts might be waiting in these folds? Stories lost and waiting to be found, whispers of forgotten epochs woven into the cosmic fabric. And as we drift alongside these threads, we sense a quiet invitation to look closer, to listen more deeply, to become keepers of memory in a universe that teaches us the value of both remembrance and release. And yet, if the universe weaves such a tapestry of impermanence and persistence, what other mysteries might be entwined in its threads, waiting for us to gently trace their patterns? Like master weavers, stars and galaxies intertwine forces seen and unseen, threading dark matter and energy into the grand design, crafting patterns that reflect the hidden architecture of existence. We are but threads ourselves, small yet vital strands caught in the unending spin of cosmic weaving. Could our own lives be reflections of this dance, moments of light and shadow bound together in the fabric of reality. Memory itself becomes a kind of loom, knitting connections between moments and matter, between beginning and end, between presence and fading. What we think of as loss could be transformation, an exchange where some threads fade while others gain vibrancy, a weaving that breathes with life even as it unravels. Is it conceivable that forgetting is an essential part of remembering, that the universe's greatest stories are those retold in ways both visible and hidden? And as the loom continues its quiet work beyond our sight, folding light and shadow into patterns eternal and transient, what new tapestries might it be crafting? Ones that we can only glimpse in the quiet spaces between our waking and our dreaming. And yet, if the universe's forgotten loom is the true keeper of time, what other stories might it have yet to reveal, spun softly from the threads of silence and starlight? In this endless fabric, woven with threads of light and shadow, time and memory, we find ourselves invited not only to witness but to participate, to become keepers of stories, custodians of a cosmic tradition that transcends time itself. Could it be that in embracing the patterns of forgetting and remembering, we touch the very essence of existence, the quiet pulse echoing in the spaces between stars? And yet, if the universe holds its grandest tales in whispers woven between the visible strands, what other mysteries might be waiting for our gentle patience to discover? And yet, if the universe holds its grandest tales in whispers woven between the visible strands, what other mysteries might be waiting for our gentle patience to discover? There are places where silence is not emptiness, but a presence that weighs softly on the fabric of existence. A cavity in time itself, an echo from the forgotten chapters of deep time. These monuments of silence are as ancient as stars and abrupt as comets, sites where absence becomes architecture, where memory gathers weight without sound. What might they reveal about loss, about memory, and about the unseen structures that hold the universe together? In the quiet depths between events, within the folds of cosmic history, silence gathers like sediment. It is the slow, patient container for what has been, and also for what might still be, a space where absence cradles presence, where the deepest truths may lie, mute but unyielding. What if silence carries the power of remembrance, of testimony, steeped in the stillness of eons? These monuments of silence are not voids but vital spaces, places where time itself seems to fold and pause, where the shifting sands of entropy slow into patterns both fragile and profound. They invite us to reconsider our understanding of memory, not as something stored, but as a dynamic unfolding, woven into the invisible architecture of space and time. Could silence be the universe's own profound storyteller, speaking in pauses, absences, and the gentle weight of what remains unspoken? In the dance of galaxies, the hush between cosmic collisions bears witness to the history of creation and destruction, outlines of lost worlds sketched in silence. What might these quiet spaces contain? Lost epochs that slipped past the grasp of light, times when existence itself was new and fragile. Could the universe's muted corners be a library, vast and unfathomable, where the deeply hidden stories of nature's passage are etched in the cosmic hush? And yet silence is also a place of risk, a quiet void where memory can dissolve and disappear, where self-erasure is possible, where the slow entropy of time erodes even the deepest marks. What does it mean for the universe, for us, that history can be both preserved and lost in silence? Could forgetting be as essential a part of the cosmos as remembering, a vital process in the ever-unfolding pattern of becoming? Those who listen long enough in this silence may find a deep invitation to attune our senses not just to noise and light, but to the gentle undercurrent of quiet truth that flows beneath. Might the architecture woven through this silence teach us to embrace absence as presence, to find meaning in quietness, and to perceive the invisible scaffolding that shapes all we know? And yet, if silence itself can be a monument, a keeper of unseen truths, what other mysteries is the universe quietly holding, waiting for patient ears to finally hear? Could it be that the universe, in its vastness and mystery, invites us to a deeper engagement, not just with what shines brightest, but with the quiet, subtle places where the most profound truths may linger? Perhaps the call of these monuments of silence is to embrace humility, to lean into wonder, and to let the breathless weight of absence teach us new ways of seeing and knowing. What other stories might be waiting in the silent folds of existence, waiting to enrich our understanding simply by being observed with reverence? And yet, if silence is such a monument, what else might the cosmos be quietly protecting in the spaces between stars and the gaps within galaxies? What mysteries might be gently folded into the fabric of reality, waiting for patient hearts to uncover them in their own time? And yet, if silence is such a monument, what else might the cosmos be quietly protecting in the spaces between stars and the gaps within galaxies? On planets where water lingers at the edge of existence, rain falls not merely as droplets but as a slow dance, a mood threaded through atmospheres that struggle with fragility and resilience. This rain, delicate and deliberate, carves surfaces inch by inch, shaping worlds with patience that defies our hurried understanding of time. In these slow, quiet stories written in liquid trails, histories unfold not in grand gestures but in nuanced whispers of persistence and transformation. Imagine a world where each raindrop carries the weight of epochs, falling as a tender echo of ancient climates, threading cycles of wet and dry, flood and drought. Surfaces respond slowly, valleys etched with liquid patience, streams weaving delicate maps in mineral soil. What tales might these slow waters tell, if we could listen beneath the ripple, beneath the quiet trickle traced across stone? Could rain be not just a force of erosion, but a keeper of memory, retaining fragments of time in its ceaseless, gentle fall? In the cycle of evaporation and condensation lies a dance of renewal and loss, a choreography that shapes atmospheres, climate patterns, and the very possibility of life. Each cloud's formation, each drop's journey from sky to earth, is a chapter in the planet's memoir, blending chemistry, physics, and the whisper of life's tender footprints. Might these slow dances of water hold secrets to survival on worlds where existence is a balance on the edge? Rain, in its slow unfolding, reminds us that change is often subtle and profound, not always sudden or violent, but patient and immeasurable. It invites meditation on the rhythms of nature and time, on the interplay between what is permanent and what is fleeting. Could the slow dance of rain be a metaphor for memory itself, a process of gentle shaping, layering, and inevitable fading? On such worlds, water's slow song will forever linger in crevices, in dried channels, in moisture etched upon dust. It is a reminder that even in places where life struggles, the elements themselves remember and shape what is yet to come. Could we, through quiet observation and slow listening, begin to uncover the narratives inscribed in these subtle motions of rain and flow? Beyond the visible, beyond what we have yet learned to measure, the slow dance of rain may carry layers of meaning, a language of liquid and light, of time measured not in hours but in the gentle erosion of stone and the whisper of air. Could this liquid memory embody moments of quiet revolt? Could it be that in each measured drop lies a galaxy of stories of climates long past and futures yet imagined? These rains, patterned by forces both seen and unseen, serve as a reminder that existence is a delicate balance, a dialogue between what is lost and what is gained. Every fall of water on barren rock may be a verse in a poem too vast for our ears, a slow song that etches itself not only on surfaces, but deep within the shifting tapestries of time. Might this slow unfolding of rain inspire us to think of memory as a dance, a layering of presence and absence, rather than a fixed state? And as we drift with these soft rains, tracing their liquid odysseys over alien landscapes, we become witnesses to time's tender caress, a reminder that life, memory, and perhaps consciousness itself may emerge from the slow movements of seemingly simple elements. What other slow dances might be stirring just beneath the surface, in the soil and the shadows, waiting for the patient to listen? And yet, if rain's slow dance can shape the destiny of worlds, what other quiet forces might shape the cosmos? whispering ancient lullabies beneath the roar of suns. These quiet forces beckon us to slow our breath and quiet our minds, to attune ourselves to subtle rhythms that underlie the cosmos's apparent clamour. And yet, if rain's slow dance can shape the destiny of worlds, what other quiet forces might shape the cosmos, whispering ancient lullabies beneath the roar of suns? Beneath the restless surface of our own planet, the Earth quietly turns its history over, folding stories beneath tectonic plates that drift and collide in a slow, inexorable waltz. Subduction zones, the great conveyor belts of the deep, swallow ancient oceans and mountain tops, erasing chapters of surface history in vast, silent gulfs. Yet, in this act of swallowing, do these zones simply erase, or do they, in their slow consumption, preserve fragments of lost epochs, keeping whispers of history trapped beneath layers of stone and time? Beneath our feet, the turning crust is an archive unlike any library, where time is measured not in years but in the grinding and folding of rock, in pressures that rewrite the surface in languages of fracture and metamorphosis. These deep processes consume, recycle and transform, turning the rooftops of ancient worlds into molten memory, while perhaps preserving sedimentary secrets in hidden folds. What stories of vanished oceans, vanished skies, and vanished civilizations might be trembling beneath us, unfolding slowly in the depths? Could these submerged pages be as vital as the visible crust, silent witnesses to endless cycles of creation, destruction, and renewal? Subduction urges us to rethink forgetting, not as loss alone, but as a transformation, a dynamic process that opens space for new histories to emerge. Between crushing pressures and searing heat, memory might not disappear but shift its form, folding into new layers, blending with primordial mantle, and encoding itself in ways beyond our current grasp. Might the Earth itself be a keeper of forgotten worlds, its memory erased and rewoven in the deep silence of geological time? The slow turn of continents and the swallowing of oceanic plates reflect the interplay of surface and interior, where the living planet shapes its own memory as much as it recalls its past. The grand cycle of tectonics, though unseen beneath cities and forests, is part of the ongoing dialogue between presence and absence, recording the history of life and the ever-changing face of climate. Could understanding these silent histories beneath our feet bring us closer to comprehending memory itself, not as a static record but as a flowing, living narrative? And as we walk the earth, feeling the slow pulse beneath our steps, we are connected to these ancient processes of forgetting and renewal. Could the trembling of lost epochs beneath us echo in our own stories, inviting us to embrace the fragility and tenacity of existence itself? What other secrets might the subterranean dance of subduction keep, locked in the deep rhythms of the planet, waiting patiently for us to listen with care and wonder? And yet, if beneath Earth's restless surface lie such silent monuments to memory and forgetting, what other hidden chapters might the universe hold, buried beneath layers of starlight and shadow, waiting for us to find them? As we lean into this stillness, we find in the planet's subterranean memory a metaphor for our own journey, an invitation to embrace the delicate balance of loss and persistence that weaves through our lives. Could our stories be folded into the same cosmic fabric, our memories layered like sediment beneath the surface of time? What other unseen chronicles might be whispering beneath the noise and light, waiting for us to become patient keepers of the universe's quiet wisdom? And yet, if beneath the Earth's restless crust silent monuments rise and fall, what other monuments of memory may lie beyond, silently shaped in the void between stars, waiting for the gentle curiosity of a listening world? And yet, if beneath the Earth's restless crust silent monuments rise and fall, what other monuments of memory may lie beyond, silently shaped in the void between stars, waiting for the gentle curiosity of a listening world? Across the vast reaches of space, whispers linger, residual energies and faint signals reverberating through the depths, a tapestry woven from sound and silence. These quiet murmurs carry the imprint of cosmic history, echoes of events and entities that once were, or perhaps still are, existing in the subtle realms between presence and absence. What stories might these whispers tell us about existence, memory, and the delicate spaces that bind the universe. In the stillness beyond light's reach, where sound as we know it cannot travel, energy whispers in pulses and waves, remnants of collisions, births, and destructions that mark the cosmic landscape. These residuals are not static but flow like breaths, carrying subtle patterns that flit between noise and order. Could these murmurs be the universe's own language, a conversation stitched into the fabric of space-time? And might we, with patient ears and quiet hearts, learn to listen to this cosmic hum, deciphering its hidden meanings? The murmurs speak of change and continuity, the slow fading of stars and the birth of new ones, the eternal dance of matter spiraling through dark currents, the delicate balance of forces that sustain galaxies and worlds alike. Each faint signal is a thread in an immense cosmic weave, a story not fixed in stone but fluid in light and shadow. Could these whispers be the pulse of a living universe, where history is not recorded once but constantly rewritten in delicate and fading tones? These rhythms invite us to embrace a more expansive sense of memory, one shaped not just by remembrance but by forgetting, by silence, by the gaps between moments. Could the very spaces where nothing seems to be the most profound carriers of meaning, places where the universe folds upon itself, enveloping past and future in a singular breath? In seeking out these whispers, we find ourselves drawn into a meditation on presence and absence, on the fragile architecture of existence. Might the veil between noise and silence, between what is known and unknown, be thinner than we imagine? Could the cosmos be inviting us beyond certainty, into realms where listening itself becomes an act of connection and creation? Beyond the immediacy of these cosmic whispers, there may lie deeper narratives woven into the unseen threads of existence, a language not made of words but of vibration, resonance, and silence. Could these murmurs conceivably carry the stories of creation and dissolution, of worlds born and forgotten? Might they reveal a universe not silent but singing in a dialect we are only beginning to perceive? The contemplation of these faint signals draws us toward an expanded awareness, inviting us to sense the universe not as a distant spectacle but as a living, breathing whole, where memory and forgetting are woven into the very fabric of reality. We become participants, listeners attuned to the faintest echoes, witnesses to the perpetual unfolding of existence in a tapestry of sound, light, and silence. And yet, if these whispered histories beckon us to listen deeper, what other songs might the universe be hiding in the stillness, waiting for us to lean closer and remember together? In the soft murmur of the cosmos, there lies an invitation to humility and wonder, to lean into the spaces between knowledge and mystery, to find peace in what is unseen. Could it be that in these quiet places, the universe holds its most profound secrets, subtle symphonies woven from absence and presence, from forgetting and remembering? Might listening with patience and reverence uncover stories too delicate for light and too profound for sound? Listening deeper still, we invite ourselves to become part of the quiet unfolding, ourselves woven into the endless pattern of cosmic memory and forgetting. And yet, if these whispers mark the very pulse of existence, what other mysteries remain, waiting patiently beyond the horizon of knowing? And yet, if these whispers mark the very pulse of existence, what other mysteries remain, waiting patiently beyond the horizon of knowing? Beneath glaciers and ancient stone lie hidden waterways, long lost to sight but never truly erased, veins carved by time and pressure into the planet's deep memory. These forgotten seaways flow not with water alone, but with stories, silent currents that bear witness to epochs of change, glacial rises and falls, and climates that have shifted and folded beneath worn surfaces. What secrets might these concealed rivers hold, hidden in the quiet passages cut beneath the ice and rock? These pathways speak not only of ice and stone, but of endurance in silence. They have survived the great reckonings of time, the onslaught of seasons and slow creep of entropy that erase so much. Within their dark channels are whispers of past worlds, life that flourished, vanished eras, and the deep movements of planetary breath. What if these hidden streams are nature's own archivists, carrying the residue of forgotten epochs in their slow, patient flow? The dance of ice and rock is a subtle choreography where compression and melt forge the contours of deep canyons and veins. Water once roared through great submerged valleys, carving echoes still visible to those who know how to look beneath the surface. Could these ghostly rivers hold clues to ice ages past, to moments when the Earth itself seemed to breathe differently, not in days or years but in geological heartbeats? Beneath glaciers' cold embrace, the currents move silently, shaping not just land but the memory of life itself. Here, sediments rest like footnotes to ancient stories, layered across millennia. Might these aquatic archives tell us not just where we have come from, but how time folds and unfolds, how moments are stacked like pebbles in forgotten streams? Could this deep stillness be a key to perceiving time differently, more slowly, more gently, and more openly? And as explorers trace these hidden paths, they open portals to deep time, crossing thresholds between what is seen and what is concealed. Might we find in these fractured waterways a metaphor for our own inner journeys, a reflection of forgetting and remembering, flowing and stillness? What other currents of memory might flow quietly beneath the noise of consciousness, sustaining the unseen foundations of existence? In these flowing stories beneath, we might catch whispers of the cosmos itself, a vast, patient witness whose memory stretches across time and space, holding the traces of life, loss, and renewal. What if these hidden waters are not just relics, but living arteries, tying the surface to the depths, the present to deep history? And as we ponder the slow motions beneath glaciers and stone, we find ourselves invited to a quiet awakening, to listen not only with our ears but with our hearts, to the stories told by water, rock, and time itself. What other forgotten currents ripple silently beneath the fabric of existence, waiting for us to unfold their mysteries with gentle wonder? Each layer of ice, each fold in stone, becomes a page in the world's slow-moving diary, etched with the silent testimony of epochs balanced precariously between memory and oblivion. In the quiet patience of these natural archives, might we find reflections of our own fragile existence, an invitation to understand forgetting, not as loss but as transformation, a vital weaving into the endless story of becoming. And as night now deepens, and the world drifts towards sleep, we rest in the gentle rhythm of these hidden waterways, these monuments of silence and memory, knowing that every silent story holds the promise of being heard. And yet, if this much can be lost, what else might we have forgotten? And yet, if this much can be lost, what else might we have forgotten? Where sky melts into sea, horizons shimmer in shifting light, the boundary between water and air becomes a place of quiet wonder, a realm where time seems to fold gently and perception stretches beyond the familiar. Light bends in soft ripples, painting illusions on the water's surface that dance like memories dissolving into the slow flow of moments. What might the edge of perception hold, if not a space where reality itself grows fluid and uncertain? The horizon is a shifting veil, a liminal space folding sky and sea into an endless loop of reflection and refraction. Here, sun and water embrace, scattering light into whispers of colour that dissolve and reform with every breath of wind and wave. Could this shimmering boundary be more than a mere line? Might it be a metaphor for our own threshold of knowing, a place where the solid and the fleeting mingle in perpetual becoming? Every ripple and cascade traces an intricate choreography shaped by gravity, wind, and the ebb and flow of tides, forces that mark the planet's slow breathing. The horizon, ever elusive, invites quiet contemplation on change and permanence, on the subtle shifts that define existence. What stories might these gleaming edges tell, shimmering like promises caught just beyond reach? Could the horizon itself be a living boundary, a storyteller reflecting the delicate dance between presence and absence? In the gentle blending of sea and sky, we find a mirror for the folds of memory and forgetting, where phantoms of the past flicker and fade, only to return in new forms beneath shifting light. Could the illusions of the horizon be echoes of forgotten worlds, faint images folded within the slow weaving of time? Might we learn to see not just with eyes but with patience, reading the shimmering signs written in the soft embrace of water and air? The horizon's endless flicker whispers of thresholds and transformations, the meeting point of known and unknown, where the self dissolves into the vastness and all things become possible. It is a place of quiet awakening, inviting us to dwell in uncertainty and discover the richness hidden in what eludes definition. Could it be that the horizon is less an end than a beginning, a soft boundary to worlds waiting to emerge from the shimmer? And as we gaze softly toward this shifting edge, what might we learn about perception? The intricate dance between clarity and mystery, between light and shadow. Could the horizon hold the key to understanding the delicate balance of the present moment, where all things flicker briefly with the light of both memory and dream? In this ever-shifting place between certainty and mystery, we find comfort and challenge, an invitation to wander with gentle eyes, to embrace what is both revealed and hidden. The horizon becomes a space of meditation and dreaming, a boundary not to be crossed hurriedly, but to be savored slowly, with quiet reverence. Could we learn to linger here between the seen and unseen, between knowing and unknowing, and find within this space a deeper connection to the universe and to ourselves? Maybe it is not only the grand outlines of celestial bodies, or the sweeping arcs of cosmic history that hold meaning, but also the quiet corners, the hesitations in time, the slow breaths between moments, the microcosms of change that escape our hurried gaze. As the horizon continues its dance of light and water, might it be teaching us to find stillness within motion, permanence within flux? And yet, if such delicate lessons are painted in the ever-shifting shimmer, what other subtle truths wait patiently in silence, ready to be discovered when we finally learn to see with gentle eyes?